And I mean, maybe we just start off getting there now. So, episode one, a lot to talk about here. Let me first say, when episode one was announced, I was very excited. Couldn't wait to see it in the theaters. It was so many years since the last Star Wars, since like Return of the Jedi, and now digital technology was in. It was getting better. So Lucas decided it was time to create this next trilogy, going back to when Darth Vader was a kid. And one thing I want to say, if you go back and look at episode one behind the scenes, one thing I noticed, I know there's a whole thing about Jake Lloyd being picked as Anakin. But if you go back and watch behind the scenes of that movie, when they were auditioning the three kids for Anakin, actually, I thought the other two were a little bit better than Jake Lloyd. There was one kid in there that was blonde-headed who was, I thought, a lot better. I thought Jake Lloyd's parts when he was like saying, "No, it's the most beautiful thing in the galaxy." I didn't think it was overacting. The other kids just were so much better. And, I know Lucas handed it off to others there and let them also pick who they thought. And they picked Jake. And, okay, you make mistakes, But one thing I'm not going to get into here is Jar Jar Binks. We all know about Jar Jar Binks. Lucas also said that he was the key to the movie. Well, I think he was another disaster for the movie. Everybody knows that today. Jar Jar Binks was terrible. You go and see the movies now, and when they brought out episode 2 and 3, Jar Jar comes on the screen. Some people booed. They really booed. But yeah, I mean, it was a mistake there with Jar Jar. I didn't think he was that funny. Yeah, it was amazing what they did. Yeah, the technology was just amazing. And the digital effects were just out of this world. I mean, even there's extended scenes of the pod race that were just out of this world. The pod race went on. I mean, I thought even without the extended scenes, I thought the pod race went on a little bit too long. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And Jake Lloyd was good in those scenes. If you watch just some of his reactions and when he's just going through the race, you could see his acting was pretty good there. He wasn't, because he had no dialogue hardly. But it's a good scene. And that's probably, and I have a shot here, that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the pod race scene. Just it's fast, the crash and the explosions, things that were going on with the sand people shooting at the pods, I thought were really cool. But yeah, I mean, it was really good. It was a really good scene. The acting in the movie, I thought was a little dry in the beginning. I think the writing was bad. I think Natalie Portman, she did a really good job, but I think when she saw more visual of what she was going to see digitally, she understood it better in episodes 2 and 3. But Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, he was perfect as Obi-Wan. Perfect as Obi-Wan. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon, he was really good. I didn't like that, he was killed off. And Darth Maul, he was excellent. I wish that character went on to episode 2 and episode 3, but we had to introduce Jango Fett, and then that whole story, and we'll get into that in episode 2. But I think one of my other favorite scenes was the duel between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan. I mean, just really, really action-packed, like fast-paced. I wish there was extended scenes of that. I mean, you can watch it over and over again, but then after you watch it, you're like, man, why did they add more? Why wasn't there more added to that scene? I remember seeing it in the theater for the first time. And that's one thing I want to bring up. When episode 1 came out, I slept out for tickets like everybody did. I got probably like 2 hours sleep. It was a cold night. Everybody was up. It was close to my wife's birthday. Actually, her birthday was the next day while I was still sleeping. The next morning before the ticket booth opened up, and they serenaded her there for her birthday. It was pretty funny, but yeah, it's something I wanted to do, and it was just a lot of fun. But I think the other thing that was exciting about episode one, seeing it in the theater, was the night I saw it was midnight showing, first show, and there had to be over at that time. There were still the plastic lightsabers. There had to be like over 200 to 300 lightsabers in the theater, and when a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away came up, and then Star Wars hit the screen, and you've seen it online. It's just the roar of the crowd. It just got just goosebumps. Even to this day when I watch videos of it, it still brings back a lot of memories, and I still get those goosebumps just seeing all those lightsabers raised in the air, and it was pretty cool. But then when the movie started, it just like it got silent, and everybody like paid attention to the movie. And like I said, the story wasn't that good. He had to start it from somewhere. And Lucas, we know, wrote this from scratch. But getting back to the lightsaber scene, I wish it could have been a little bit longer. It just was so fast paced, and when he splits Darth Maul's lightsaber in half, and he's flipping around and everything, it just was really cool. I remember the second time I saw it, my wife, we were leaning like forward on the scene. Like I remember sitting back in my chair in the theater, and then we leaned forward at that scene just to like take it all in. So, I mean, out of episode one, the pod race and the lightsaber scene there was probably my favorite part of that movie. Hey, if this is your first time watching, welcome to the channel, and please don't forget to subscribe. If you'd like to receive future notifications of live streams or video posts, hit that bell. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.